We were inseparable from the moment we met. It was the first day of high school when I walked into a new classroom, nervous and unsure, and there she was smiling, confident, and full of life. Her name was Emma. She was the kind of person everyone wanted to be around. She had a laugh that made you feel warm, eyes that noticed everything, and a heart that welcomed anyone without judgment. I was quiet, the kind of girl who preferred books to people, but she saw something in me. She walked up, introduced herself, and within minutes we were sharing stories, laughing like we'd known each other for years. Our friendship grew quickly. We started spending all our time together, lunch breaks, afters, cool walks, weekend sleepovers. We talked about everything. She knew my secrets, fears, dreams. I knew hers. We had our own little world built on trust, honesty, and the kind of bond that doesn't need words to explain. If I had a bad day, she'd be the first to notice. If she needed someone to talk to, I'd be there, no questions asked. We supported each other through every challenge and celebrated each small victory together. She became more than just a friend. She was like a sister. We had inside jokes, favorite songs, shared notebooks filled with doodles and silly messages. Our families got to know each other, and soon it felt like Emma had always been a part of my life. People at school even started referring to us as one name. We were always together, always in sync. It felt perfect. I trusted her completely, and I knew she trusted me too. Emma was the kind of friend who made you feel important. When I doubted myself, she reminded me of my worth. When I made mistakes, she forgave easily. I always thought nothing could break us. We had been through small fights before, the kind all friends have, but we always came back stronger. I couldn't imagine anything serious ever tearing us apart. We made plans for the future, same college, same city, maybe even being roommates someday. It felt like we were building a forever kind of friendship. Looking back, I realize now how precious those moments were, the laughter, the late night talks, the shared dreams. We never thought something or someone could come between us. But that was before he came into the picture, before everything changed, before I made a choice I can never take back. It happened during our second year of high school. Emma and I were walking down the hallway when we first saw him, tall, quiet, with a calm kind of charm that made people turn their heads. His name was Liam. He had just transferred from another school, and there was something about him that made him stand out, not because he was loud or tried to get attention, but because he didn't. He kept to himself, rarely spoke unless someone approached him first, and yet everyone seemed curious about him, including us. Emma was the first to talk to him. That was just who she was, friendly, fearless, always the one to break the ice. She walked right up to him one afternoon and introduced both of us. Liam was polite, soft-spoken, and a little shy, but something in his eyes caught my attention. There was depth there, mystery. Over the next few weeks, he started sitting with us at lunch sometimes. It was subtle, casual. Emma would invite him, and he'd smile and accept. I noticed how easily he fit in, how comfortable he seemed around us, especially around Emma. At first, I didn't think much of it. He was just a new guy who was becoming part of our little circle. But slowly, I began to feel something shift. I started noticing things, how Emma would smile more brightly when he was around, how he'd laugh a little louder at her jokes. And me, I was quiet, watching it all happen, feeling something grow inside me that I didn't want to name. It wasn't just admiration. It was something deeper, more complicated. He and I began having short conversations when Emma wasn't around, small talks after class, quick exchanges in the hallway. He was kind, always respectful, but there were moments where his eyes lingered, where the air felt charged, even if no words were spoken. I didn't know if I was imagining it or if something real was developing between us. Either way, I kept it to myself. I couldn't bring myself to say anything to Emma. She liked him, I could see that. And I was her best friend. As time passed, Liam's presence became a regular part of our lives. The three of us would hang out together, and every moment we shared felt normal on the surface. But beneath it, I was struggling with emotions I didn't understand: jealousy, guilt, and confusion. I tried to ignore it. I told myself it would pass. After all, friendships are supposed to come first. But deep down, I already knew things were changing. The balance between us had shifted, and it was only the beginning. It started slowly, like a quiet whisper that grew louder with time. The more I spent around Liam, the more I realized how drawn I was to him. It wasn't just about how he looked. Though he was undeniably handsome, it was how he listened, how he spoke with kindness, and how he made me feel seen. With Emma, everything was bright and fast-paced. With Liam, it felt calm, safe, personal. I began to notice the smallest things: the way he brushed his hair back when he was nervous, how he always carried a book in his bag, how his smile reached his eyes when he was genuinely happy. We started having more one-on-one moments, often by accident. He'd wait with me after class if Emma was running late. Sometimes we'd bump into each other at the library or in the school courtyard. Each time, we'd talk a little longer, and each conversation left me wanting more. I tried to keep things light, to act like nothing was happening, but inside, I was beginning to look forward to those unexpected moments more than I should have. Emma still hadn't said anything about having feelings for him, but I could see it. She didn't have to say it, it was in her eyes, in the way she dressed a little nicer when he was around, in the way she smiled differently when he texted. She liked him a lot, and she was my best friend. I reminded myself of that every time my heart fluttered when Liam laughed at something I said, or when he looked at me a little longer than necessary. I told myself it was wrong. I told myself to stop. But feelings don't listen to logic. They sneak up on you, even when you try to bury them. I started dreaming about him. I'd replay our conversations in my head before falling asleep. I began wondering what it would feel like to hold his hand, to kiss him. And then came the guilt, heavy, sharp, always reminding me that he wasn't mine to want. He was part of something sacred, the space Emma and I had built together. Still, the temptation grew. I could feel something unspoken between us in his glances, in the pauses between words, in the way our hands would almost touch and then pull away. I couldn't tell if it was real or if I was imagining it because I wanted it so badly. The line between friendship and desire had started to blur, and I was too deep in it to step back. I was torn between loyalty and longing. Every day became a quiet battle between who I was and what I was feeling. I hadn't acted on it yet, but the thought was there, always lingering. It felt like I was standing at the edge of something I couldn't undo, one choice away from crossing a line that would change everything. It happened on a rainy Friday afternoon, the kind of day when everything feels heavier. School had just ended, and Emma had gone home early because she wasn't feeling well. Liam and I stayed behind to work on a group project in the library. The room was nearly empty, quiet except for the soft tapping of rain on the windows. We sat close, sharing notes, laughing quietly, and every now and then, our eyes would meet and hold for just a second too long. There was tension, not forced, not uncomfortable, but electric, undeniable. I kept telling myself to stay focused, to remember who he was and what this meant, but the voice in my head grew faint compared to the thumping in my chest. When he leaned in to show me something on the paper, our faces were inches apart. I looked at him, and he looked at me, really looked at me, and in that moment, something inside me cracked. He didn't move away. I didn't either. I wish I could say I stopped it. I wish I could say I thought about Emma, about what she would feel, what this would do to her, but I didn't. I leaned in, and so did he, and then we kissed quiet, slow, and full of everything we had both been holding back for weeks. It didn't last long, maybe only a few seconds, but it felt like time froze. When we pulled away, neither of us spoke. We just sat there, the air thick with everything we couldn't say. The weight of what we had done hit me instantly. My heart was racing, but not from excitement, from panic, from guilt. I had crossed the line I swore I wouldn't. He looked away first. I could see the regret on his face, and I felt it in my chest like a punch. We didn't speak about it. We packed up our things in silence, and I walked home alone in the rain, my thoughts louder than the thunder above me. I kept replaying the moment over and over, trying to convince myself it wasn't as bad as it felt. But I knew the truth. Emma had trusted me. She had trusted *us*, and I had betrayed her in the worst way, not just as a friend, but as the person who was supposed to protect her heart, not help break it. I didn't know what to say, or if I could ever say anything at all. I had made a choice in a single moment, and nothing would ever be the same again. The fallout came faster than I expected. Emma found out within days. I don't know if Liam told her, if someone saw us, or if she just sensed it, but she knew. One afternoon, she showed up at my door, eyes puffy, face pale, her body trembling with a mix of heartbreak and fury. She didn't scream. She didn't cry right away. She just looked at me like I was a stranger, like I was someone she didn't recognize anymore. Her voice was quiet when she asked, "Did you kiss him?" And I couldn't lie. I couldn't pretend anymore. I nodded, my throat too tight to speak. That was all it took. She turned around and walked away, and I stood there frozen, watching my best friend disappear down the street, knowing I had broken something that could never be fixed. The days after were a blur. At school, she stopped looking at me. She avoided the halls I walked down, sat at the other end of the cafeteria, and unfollowed me on every social platform. I became invisible to her, and honestly, I deserved it. Every time I saw her face, I felt a twist of guilt and regret so sharp it made it hard to breathe. My chest ached constantly, and no distraction could take away the heaviness of what I'd done. Liam tried to talk to me once. He said he didn't mean to hurt anyone, that he didn't expect things to get this messy. But his words felt hollow, like they came too late. We both knew we had crossed a line that meant more than just one kiss. It wasn't just about him. It was about the years of trust I'd destroyed in a moment of weakness. I started questioning everything, my values, my choices, my identity. How could I have let this happen? Why didn't I stop it? I thought back to all the moments I could have walked away, the signs I ignored, the feelings I fed when I should have buried them. I felt like I was split in two parts of me, still clinging to the memory of who I was before, and the other part facing the reality of what I had done. Loneliness settled in quickly. People noticed the change. Some whispered, some avoided me, others looked at me with disappointment, but none of it hurt as much as knowing Emma wasn't coming back. Our inside jokes, our late-night talks, our unshakable bond all gone. I had hurt the one person who had loved me without conditions, and now I had to leave with that. Every day was a battle between guilt and sorrow, between wishing I could undo it all and knowing I couldn't. The emotional weight was unbearable, and no apology felt big enough to cover the pain I'd caused. I had betrayed her, and in doing so, I had lost not only her, but also a part of myself. Time passed, but the weight of what I had done never truly left me. At first, I tried to distract myself with schoolwork, new faces, anything to keep my mind off the silence between Emma and me. But the truth always returned in quiet moments in the early morning, when I'd wake up and instinctively check my phone for her messages, or when I'd hear a song we used to sing together and feel my chest tighten with loss. I thought about her constantly, her laugh, her way of saying my name, the way we used to read each other's moods without speaking. I missed it all, but most of all, I missed being someone she could trust. I kept asking myself, why did I let it happen? Why didn't I stop myself when I had the chance? The answers never came easily. I had wanted something that wasn't mine. I had chosen desire over loyalty. And I had destroyed something beautiful for a moment I couldn't take back. The worst part was knowing how much I had hurt her. Emma wasn't just anyone. She was the one person who had stood by me when no one else did. She believed in me when I didn't believe in myself, and I had turned around and broken her heart. I imagined how she must have felt the betrayal, the confusion, the heartbreak. She hadn't just lost a guy. She had lost her best friend, and I had to live with the knowledge that I did that. I tried writing her a letter once. I poured my heart into it, pages of apologies, of memories, of the things I wish I could have said face to face. But I never sent it. I was too afraid. Maybe I didn't deserve to be forgiven. Maybe it was better to let her heal without me in her life. Looking back, I realize now how young and selfish I was. I confused chemistry with connection and desire with love. What I felt for Liam was fleeting. What I had with Emma was real. I see that now, too late. If I could go back, I'd choose differently. I'd walk away. I'd protect what we had instead of destroying it. But life doesn't let you rewind. It only gives you lessons, sometimes the hard way. And this one left a scar that still aches. Not because I lost him, but because I lost her asterisk. And I know deep down that pain won't fully go away. Because when you break someone's trust, you don't just lose their friendship, you lose a piece of who you used to be. And that's something no apology can ever truly fix.